BookTube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. I am here today to do a tag. This is the spoiler tag, and while I will be talking about some books in this tag, I just want you to know right away I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone. I was doubly tagged for this video. I was tagged by Jay Shea and Beating Around the Books, so I will link to their channels down below, as well as Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, who created this tag, and man, they are just great at creating tags that really captivate people. So thank you so much for creating this tag. Question number 1, what do you consider a spoiler? And I actually have been really surprised at how many of you don't mind spoilers or don't object to them or aren't as concerned about them, that kind of thing. I live in fear of having something ruined for me. And when I say ruined, I mean that the experience of reading the book is fundamentally changed. I will say, and I'm going to try to talk more about this throughout the video, for me, the thing that is the biggest spoiler is probably film adaptations of books, because I can't always read the book before I watch the film. So, question number 2, does the genre you're reading impact what you consider to be a spoiler? And overall, I would say no, but Jay Shea did bring up some really good points in his video about, romance. So, I mean, depending on the kind of romance it is, like what you pick up, like you're gonna expect it to end happily, however that may be. And nonfiction, I'm not really sure nonfiction can be spoiled. Maybe there are some things, like I'm thinking of, and I don't have it with me, Eric Larson's Devil in the White City. So yeah, like there's maybe some details about the devil part of that book that maybe that might spoil the experience for you. But overall, I think romance and nonfiction are pretty safe areas when it comes to not worrying as much about spoilers. I mean, I still don't really want to know too much. I think probably overall mysteries and classics are the two biggest genres, if you will, that can be spoiled. So, question number 3. All the best bits are in the trailer. Sometimes a synopsis can be too detailed. Do you research books prior to reading them, or do you go blind? I don't typically research books, and I don't typically read the flaps on the book, and I definitely don't read the introductions, which is another question. So, yeah, there's a lot of books that I just read completely blind. Before I was married to Jason, I definitely have had movie watching experiences where I went into a film completely blind. The Blair Witch Project being the best example of that. So maybe I'll save that story for another video. But yeah, I was quite shocked by that film. Question number 4. Sometimes the introduction or translators' notes can spoil the ending, especially the classics. Has this ever happened to you? Yes. Yes, it has. And I get so frustrated. I mean, I have seen spoilers in the first sentence in an introduction to a classic. So, yeah, I never ever read the introduction. I will. I read it after I'm done with the book, but I would never read it in advance. And I have seen spoilers of things in footnotes. And again, it makes me crazy. Just because it's a classic doesn't mean that everybody in the world knows the ending. So the best example I have of this is A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. And I'm not sure how or where I found out what the ending to this classic is. I think at the time I wasn't really into Dickens, so I didn't care. But then when I did finally read it, the fact that I knew what the ending was really change the experience. And I do envy those people who are able to read a book like this without knowing that. So I really wish that, why can't it be the introduction be an afterword instead of an introduction, Or put some kind of note on there, like, this introduction contains spoilers to the novel, whatever, or reveals key details in the novel, that sort of thing. So, okay. Question number 5. Name a time somebody spoiled a novel for you. This pretty much happens to me every single time I talk to my family about books or movies. Question number 6. Have you ever spoiled a novel? I certainly do my best not to. The one thing I will say, living with another avid reader, is that lots of times Jason or I, we'll be reading something and we really want to talk about something that's happening in the book, and so we often look at each other and go, are you going to read this? Because if you're never going to read this, I'd really love to share this with you. So that question gets tossed about quite a bit, and I think we're good at being really respectful to each other of oh, you're going to read this. Okay, never mind. Or sometimes Jason will be like, well, it's probably going to be so long from now that I won't remember what it is that you're about to tell me. Question number 7. If spoilers ruin novels, are there some authors or genres you can't reread? So this is a little bit confusing to me, this question, because if I feel like it's ruined, then I'm probably not going to read it in the first place. But otherwise, certain authors, I can't think of any authors right now off the top of my head that I wouldn't, I read one book that had been, that was spoiled, and so now I'm not going to read anything else by that person or anything else from that genre. So maybe I'm misunderstanding this question a little bit, but I can't think of anything. Obviously, if you reread a mystery or a thriller, then that reading experience is different. You can only have that the one time. The one thing I will say is Agatha Christie, and I love Agatha Christie, but for some reason when I read her books, I just don't retain them at all. So even though I've read quite a few Agatha Christie books, I could reread all of them again and still not remember what the outcome is, with maybe a couple of exceptions, a couple of really famous exceptions. So question number 8, when reviewing, are you spoiler free? Does this limit your ability to discuss? I sometimes have spoilers in my reviews, but for the most part I try to make my reviews spoiler free so that anybody can watch them and not worry that something's going to be given away. But I, whether it limits my ability to discuss or not doesn't matter. I would never want to ruin a book for somebody else. I'm very careful about the review videos that I watch. I always do try to include in the title, is it spoilers or is it spoiler free? One of the things that I kind of felt was missing from this tag, and I don't know if it's just because it's been on my brain this morning, is movies and miniseries. And again, sometimes a movie's coming out and I feel this immense pressure to try to read the book before I see the film. I really like that. I prefer that experience because lots of times the movie will overpower in my mind the reading experience, especially because it's so much easier to just watch a 2-hour film, or rewatch a 2-hour film rather than reread an entire book. I just wanted to give you a couple of examples. So the first one is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. So when I heard that this film was coming out, I really worked hard. This was the first John le Carré book that I read, and I loved it. It's if you think his books are easy, well, I'm impressed. These can be really dense, complicated books, and I'm a huge fan, and I hope to get to more John le Carré this year. But I think I've probably read maybe 4 books by him so far. So anyway, but I really hurried. Well, not really hurried, but I hurried to read this book before the film came out, because the thing is that in something like this, if you already know the ending, then again, reading the book is a completely different experience, because you know who the mole is. So that's, that's a choice we all have to just make for ourselves. The other example I wanted to share with you, and I probably, this is a mistake, but, so we owned Cloud Atlas long before there was a Cloud Atlas film, but Jason nor myself had read the book before we went to see the movie, and we loved the movie. The people we saw the movie with hated it, and by far most people did not like the film. And I just wonder how much that plays into the fact that this book was incredibly popular. I mean, it got a lot of award buzz, and it just seems really beloved by people who read this before they saw this film. So that could be, a big difference. And I will admit, so after we saw the film, I was like, oh my God, I have to read this book. And I did read it. I do like David Mitchell. I really enjoyed his Black Swan Green. I need to read some other novels by him, but my heart belongs to the movie and not the book. And again, so that was just, that's a choice, I guess, that we have to make. So, all right, question number 9. Shout out. Tell us about 5 channels you enjoy, and then tag them. So a few channels I want to tag. We Last with a Book. I think she's done 1 tag. So it's time to do another one. We Last with a Book. I hope you're watching. Melissa Furman. She's a new booktuber. And so Melissa, I'd love to hear your thoughts on spoilers. Summer, a cozy reading with Quaker Cats. And I'd also like to tag I Never Promised You a Prose Garden, which is absolutely one of my favorite booktube channel names. All right. I'd love to hear your thoughts about spoilers in the comments section down below. And please don't spoil anything for me or anybody else. But yeah, let's have a discussion about spoilers. And if you'd like to do this tag, please consider yourself tagged. So. All right, thank you so much, BookTube. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.